Hey guys, I just thought I'd make a quick video because this coming Tuesday I am on a podcast about British culture recorded by my friend Thomas, who's Fleming Never Dies on Instagram. And it was great to have a chat with him. He's just recently moved to San Diego, and of course I'm coming up to 20 years on and off in America. And it was so interesting to get his perspective on things and compare it to my perspective on things, especially with such a momentous occasion coming up. And I'll tell you one thing that makes me happy, and that is I've been in America for 20 years, had some amazing highs and some crushing lows, but I'll tell you what, there's never been a moment of those 20 years in which I was like, I should never have left. No. America has been everything I could possibly have wanted it to be and more. I love this country with every iota of my being, and I think the fact that I love it so much often surprises people. There's a lot of people always like, well, Europe's so much better. Europe, you've got social safety net, you've got blah 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 blah, and it's like, the problem is in Europe there's a different mentality, especially in England. In England there's this weird mentality, this sort of class mentality, the aspiration is almost frowned upon. You've got to know your place. You've got to know where you're going to be. Whereas in America, the American dream might not exist, but the power of the dream exists in and of itself. America is a place where you come with the promise of being able to be anything. I don't think I would have achieved half the things that I have achieved if I hadn't had the opportunity to come and live in America. Even though in some ways, what I do, being a writer and freelancing and gig economy and all that stuff, in theory it would be so much easier in Britain because you've got the NHS. You don't have to pay for health insurance, which is bonkersly expensive. You've got a social safety net. You've got so much in England that you'd think would make your life easier if you try and go outside the confines of like traditional employment. But just, I don't think there's that spirit of entrepreneurialism in the same way that there is here in America. I think in America it's like they have this pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality, sort of hardwired into the American DNA. And I think people are realizing now that, especially the way society is, that it's not possible to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, especially if you don't have bootstraps. But I'll tell you what, you come to America and you try and reach the American dream, you might never reach it, but you will become a better person for doing so. America forces you to accept that the reason you don't reach the dream is often just down to you. And I've found the people I speak to who have come to this country with the least and achieved the most, it's almost directly proportional to that. The people who've come with the least have achieved the most, because once they realise that you can do it, sort of the sky's the limit. I think to people who come from a more affluent background, I mean, myself included, and I think Americans, especially Americans these days, Americans take America for granted. Perhaps because we come from like that softer background, we don't quite feel the hunger. 80% of all millionaires are self-made. Interesting fact that. But you do have to take accountability if you fail. I think that's the thing. It makes you take accountability for when you could do things better. And so America is a country that doesn't accept excuses. She's a cruel mistress, but at the same time, like the cruelest women, you always have this quantum of solace for them. Anyway, I don't know. It's a rambling video, but America really is a wonderful place, and it's filled with wonderful people. I have made closer friends, had more incredible experiences, and just found myself and my authenticity so much more here than I did in England and in Europe. So every single day I wake up grateful to be here, and every single day I wake up and I just hope that when I go to bed at the end of that day, I've made myself just a little bit better. Anyway, that's my rambling video. But do catch me on Tuesday on Thomas's podcast, because it's great. He's super smart, super entertaining, and it's so interesting to see both our backgrounds. We are now Brits here in America, him on the West Coast, me on the East Coast. You might as well be in separate countries if we're honest. But it was great having a chat with him, and I think you'll be really interested and surprised by some of the things that we both think and feel about our international experiences. Anyway, ciao.